What is going on, YouTube? It has been a good minute since I've done anything on that car back there. You can kind of see it. You know, I'll zoom in on it. There you go. There goes the Mercury. Yeah, it's kind of hard when you got 3 kids to play sports. You know, you got a wife, and you got to work 40 plus hours a week to make this kind of stuff happen. So, I didn't have jack stands, so I bought some good jack stands. Well, they match my jack. Then I bought a spotlight because I need a spotlight. Then I bought a headlight and just some miscellaneous tools and stuff that I know I need to do to get this kind of stuff done. I'm not any stranger to working on cars. I used to work on them for a living. So this heavy duty type stuff, you know, it's just kind of like, I'm going to do it. I know I need to do it. You know, I want to do it. So I'm going to at least try to get some of the stuff done. So let me unpack some of this stuff and get it all laid out and show you exactly what I'm going to do first. All right, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So I got these bright LED lights. I got a headlight too. But it's kind of an overview of what's going on. Kind of a review. Oh, I'm about to trip over this cord. So right now I'm looking at the rear of the car. I've got this upper, it's the upper torque box reinforcement. They're tubular. They're not like welded ones, but they're pretty strong. So those will go in with the upper control arms. There's a longer bolt for these when I do that. Those are lower control arms with spring pockets. Got the rear sway bar up here, and buried in here is that axle I had built. Now what I'm going to have to do to get these aluminum bushings in here is I'm going to have to probably drill these out. Since I don't have an air chisel, I'll probably have to drill holes in them and then knock them out. Kind of a pain in the butt, but that's kind of what I have to do. You see 3-inch studs. Got the disc brake bracket on there. I didn't bring the brakes upstairs, man. Them things are heavy, but I'll get them up here. But for right now, I'm going to stop the video again. I'm going to go ahead and get the car jacked up. Let's see how far I actually get with tearing the brakes apart. Oh, for you guys that do have Fairmonts and Zephyrs, these are the brake cables, because we have foot brakes. We don't have hand brakes like Mustangs and some other cars. So Mark 7 rear brake cables and the transverse cable. So you need 2 of these, and you need 1 transverse cable, and they're for like Mark 7s, so you can keep your foot brake when you switch over to a rear disc brake like a 94-95 Cobra like I'm doing. So just a little heads up, so you don't have to go try to fabricate stuff. There might be some adjustments, obviously, that you're going to need when you get in there to do it, to make it fit, but it should fit just fine. But let me go ahead and get the car jacked up. Let's see how far I get today. This is, what are we, November 14th, 15th, 16th? Something like that, 2025. So, I don't know what order I'm going to upload these videos, or when I'm going to upload them, but I'm going to upload them sooner than later. Let's go. Alright, y'all. We have gotten a little bit further. Got all the wheels off. Got all the jack stands up. What's funny is, I bought these jack stands thinking they were all the same color. And I know on the outside of the box it says that they're the same, but now I got these sparkly metallic red flake jack stands on one side, and the ones that match my jack on the other side. It's all good. They're all the same anyway. It don't matter. I think attacking this, I think it's just, you know, this rear end's got to come out. So obviously, brake lines and brake cables. Well, really just the upper brake lines up there, they got to come loose from the car. Anything else from the car and the actual, you know, emergency brake cable, they got to come out. And then it's just slowly letting the rear end down without these springs popping out. And then, you know, all this stamped steel crap is coming out. These are coming out. I got Viking 2-way adjustable. Should be a nice little setup. I'm gonna have to keep that bracket right there because I don't have it on the new rear end, on the other end. So I'm gonna have to keep some stuff from this and then just switch it over. It's not a huge deal. I mean, it's set up, the other rear end has stuff for quad shocks, which is what came in Mustangs. These cars didn't have them. You know, they were meant for cruising, not performance. So we're gonna be stepping up quite a bit. Say bye-bye to the 4 lugs. I don't know, I definitely could sell these easy to somebody. I mean, I'd probably only want like $100 for the wheels and the tires. I'll put them up for sale probably on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, local to my area. Ain't gonna be hard to get rid of these. They'll go pretty quick for that price. Anyways, I'll be back once I see how far I get. Alright y'all, I'm back. It's not that daylight's running out because I got plenty of it with these lights. I'm just running out of time because I gotta get kids to practice and all this training and all this stuff. So see, I broke it all down. It wasn't that hard breaking drum brake. The only thing that is hard is getting the damn cable. You gotta squeeze that and pull it through, and they're gonna get replaced anyways by those rear cables I showed you earlier. So this is day 1. I'll just call it day 1. I'm gonna wrap it up here, but I think the next time I come out here and try to do something, obviously the cables will get pulled out. I'll pull the drive line, the drive line out. I'll disconnect that. The only thing that's going to be kind of hard is disconnecting these control arms because they're boxed up in here. They're like up in there. You got to get to them on these Mercuries and Fairmonts. So the upper shouldn't be that hard. Disconnecting the brake line shouldn't be that hard. That should all be like a walk in the park. It's just those brake cables. After that, I just got to figure out those lower control arms, how to disconnect those. I'm going to disconnect the least amount of things possible. Obviously the top of the shocks can come out. The whole thing should just come out in one piece. I don't need to be taking stuff apart piece by piece. It's just wasting time doing that. And then once that comes out, I'll start working on getting those upper bushings out of this rear end that's going in here that's been built, and put those aluminum bushings in, assemble them and put them in, and then that'll be awesome. Then the rear end can go up in there, and I can put these lower control arms with spring perches in them, upper control arms, and then when it's all kind of sitting in there, I'll try to see how to fit this in there. I haven't really looked at it yet, but I'm hoping it's similar to a Mustang. Should be. All the rest of the stuff should be pretty straightforward. Anyways, that's it for day 1. I'll just continue this video at another time. Alright, peace out. Yo, what up? It's King J here, back with another part of a video. As you can see, I'm taking the rear end out of the Mercury, and I got this one that's built. You may have known that. You see, now it's going to be set up for disc. Got the bracket from LMR. I got, I had to get the centric ring because I forgot to get the axles that are meant for this rotor for 94, 95 Mustangs, Cobras. So you have to have an eccentric ring, which that's fine. I think what I gotta do is set the brake lines up on the rear end. I think that's the best way to go about it, is set them up on the rear end with the center bracket that hangs right off of there, and then drill and tap where I need to drill and tap right here, and then attach everything that way instead of attaching the brake lines and then trying to put the soft line brackets that go on there. I'll show you. This is another LMR thing. So the way they attach, and I'll have to go over here to the other side because this is the right side bracket. Or this could be the left side bracket. Yeah, no. So that's kind of the way it attaches. I may even I'll have to drill and tap it, but I have the drill and the tap. I have a size F drill And then I have the 5/16, 18 tap, which is what size bolt I was going to use. A button head, Allen head, button head bolt. So let me go ahead and bolt that bracket, that center bracket that bolts up right here on these eight rear ends, and then set up the brake lines, and then we'll go from there. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. Let me see if I can get some light on here. I will get some light on here. Hold on. Yeah, let me get some light. So I got the rear brake line to go over the axle. It wasn't hard. First I put on, like I said, I put on the upper bracket. It's kind of hard to see, so it's shining light right on it. I don't have my gimbal with me or anything like that. So I put this upper bracket on, and I put Loctite on a serrated nut to secure it. And then these are the LMR brake lines. I don't have the other one secured because I'm about to get rid of these old bushings in the upper rear end housing. And then basically all you have to do with this LMR kit is you have to have these soft line adapters to adapt these rear brake lines that they give you in the kit. So you're gonna have to use an F drill or a 1/4 inch drill. This is a 256. A 250 might work, but you just gotta be careful. But that's an F drill, which is a 256, and that is meant for a 5/16, 18 tap, which is what this is right here. I just hand tapped it. It ain't thick metal. So I went in with the F drill first. So what I had to do is drill this hole for this button head Allen first, line it up, use my paint marker, mark it, then just start drilling and use WD-40 to lubricate it while you're drilling, because it is steel. And I just drilled with this old crappy drill I've had for years. And I drilled it out, then I tapped it, obviously, and then what I did is I bolted it in place so that I can line it up, and then mark around here and around here so I can kind of center where that hole is. Now this is a bigger drill bit for this hole, because they say in the instructions and in the video drill 2 1/4 inch holes, but that tab is exactly what the size of that hole is. So you want it bigger so that you can align everything correctly, so that you can align this how it's supposed to be. It'll be easier if the hole is bigger, trust me. A few drill sizes bigger, you can just match up the drill to this little tab, or you can cut it off. They say you can cut it off, but I'd rather just have it. I mean, might as well. It's not hard. So then I did that. I drilled it with I did drill this bigger hole with this drill, the 256 F drill, number F, or letter F. And then I stepped up to a bigger drill. I just drilled right to this drill, or stepped up right to this drill and just drilled it through, and you see it lines up. This one I didn't do as good. You can see this line, you can see this bracket's a little higher by a bit, but I mean, it'll work. I mean, I don't think it's going to be in the way of the suspension or anything like that. It did make it a little bit tougher to try to fit this line, the driver's side line. I just had to bend it a little, but I mean, they say you have to do that in the instructions anyway, is to bend these lines just a little to get them to fit on that soft line adapter. And then the end of that soft line is going to go to the calipers, which I do have. SN95 calipers. They're painted red. They're on top of the car. You can't see them right now. And there goes the AOD that I'm gonna have modified and fixed up. Got a lot of old stuff now that I don't need. This is all drum stuff for an 875, 85, or 88. And those were actually 5 lugs axles. I probably should just sell the things. I think the next thing I'm gonna do, like I said, is drill these bushings out the hard way and then knock them out. And then I have these spherical bushings from BMR, and that shouldn't be too hard to put on. That should, you know, other than drilling them out, I know I might have to suck them in with something. I may even have to have the tool, but I guess we'll see. I forgot what the instructions say, but I have the instructions, so I'll go look at that. And yeah, today is the day after Christmas 2025, just in case I forgot to mention that. Yeah, you can see some real backyard stuff, but I'm doing stuff the right way, you know, at least the assembly part. You know, I just ain't got a shop. I just have a carport, raggedy carport, but it'll work. I got 4 good jack stands, and I got all the tools to do this stuff, so I'm not really afraid to do it. I've worked on cars for a long time. So anyway, that's it for now. All right, we back, and let me show you what I did. So I got everything all tied in as far as the rear end goes. I mean, it's pretty much ready to go in the car. Other than having the disc brakes on it, I'd rather do that in the car. It just makes it heavier to move when you put the calipers on there. So as you can see, this one, I kind of got the bracket, this bracket right here, I kind of got it high. You can tell it's kind of funny. That's how I had to bend the line funny. But as long as it doesn't interfere with suspension parts and it runs along the axle, that's fine. You see, this one I nailed it. You see I got the hole for it. I nailed that one. I mean, as long as it doesn't leak, I honestly don't care. It's about the function. Nobody's gonna notice that. Also, I got the aluminum bushings in. So what I did to get these old rubber bushings out, I just used my drill and just drilled the rubber out of them until the centerpiece fell out. And then I took my chisel and a metal hammer, not a dead blow. Dead blow won't work on that, but I took that and I just knocked it through that way. I just pushed the edge of it down. Let me see if I can find the actual housing for the bushing. Yeah, here we go. So as you can see, I dented it in with the chisel, and then I just knocked it through that way. It was easy. I mean, people use it with an air hammer. Yeah, it's really fast. But I mean, if you just drill the middle out, and then you dent it down, and then you like kind of collapse it, and then knock it through, it's gonna be easy. It took me like 5 minutes to do both of them. It took me less than 5 minutes to get these in. So what I did was I took, once those are out, you gotta kind of prep the surface inside that housing. So like some 200 grit works fine. Any kind of grit works fine. Just clean it up, deburr it, get all the dust off of there, and then I just cleaned it out with some brake clean, dried it out, and then I oiled it with some 10W30, the housing, and then I just set the outer part of the bushing inside the housing, and you're gonna have to hammer it in with a dead blow. They have a tool, but the dead blow works on these types of bushings. Dead blow works fine on aluminum bushings and steel bushings, the spherical style. So I just took a dead blow, knocked it all the way through until it was flush. I mean, until it couldn't go no more. And then I looked at the gap between the housing and the housing and the bearing itself, and I said, yeah, I like that. And then I put some blue Loctite on these inner threads, because this is like a big old hex-headed fitting on the inside to keep it tight. So put some blue Loctite on it, and then you're either gonna have to have a really big socket, like a 2 1/4 inch socket, or again, use your punch on each edge until it tightens up. It don't take too many foot-pounds. I forget how many foot-pounds it is. It's not very many, maybe 35 or so, but it's got Loctite on it, so I'm okay with that. So there's that. There's the upper brake housing bracket. At first I tried to get these bearings tightened up with this pipe wrench. The pipe wrench is just too damn big, and you can't use channel locks. The channel locks are too small. Most channel locks are going to be too small. So just hit with a punch or get that socket. I mean, if you got, a chisel. If you got the chisel and a metal hammer, just do it that way. It's not that bad. But I think I'm gonna be okay once the caliper is gonna kind of, I don't know, it's gonna be somewhere right here, because there's a bracket for the calipers. I think it's a good stopping point for me. I think here's a caliper right here, one of them, the rear calipers. I think it's a good stopping point for today. I did a little bit. I did some rear end prep. I think I prepped it enough to where I could do the rest in the car. Oh, a little tip, if people didn't know, on these Fairmonts and Zephyrs, you see that's my old brake cable. I might have showed this in another part of the video, I don't know, this is like weeks apart. So that's my old cable. Here's the new cable. These new cables are from Mark 7. So is that transverse cable. Here's the old transverse cable. And if you get up under here, you can't really see because I don't have light, but you can see it bolts in the exact same place. Just like that. Because Mark 7s and Zephyrs and LTDs, we all got the e-brake on the floor. So those are really the only cars and LTDs where you can get, really just Mark 7s, where you can get that, because Mark 7s have disc brakes. I don't know if I don't think LTDs have disc brakes, but somebody can correct me in the comments. But you just need a car with a foot brake that's a Ford, and you get those cables. You don't have to cut cables and fabricate them. I seen one guy do that. I'm pretty sure you know who he is. I'm not gonna mention names, but he's in there cutting and fabricating brake cables. You don't need to do that. That's like the hard way to do it. Just get the disc brake cables, and they'll be long enough to reach to the disc. Because see, these drum cables, they're not gonna work. They're too short. So the disc cable will work off a Mark 7. Just get the Mark 7, I don't know, say 90, 91 Mark 7, and you just get 2 brake cables and 1 transverse that runs crossways like that one on the ground right here. And then it'll tighten itself up, and you'll figure out how it fits in there, because you'll notice some of the fittings are similar. Not exactly the same, but they're similar. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is get all this junk off the trunk and put it up on the roof, because I'm gonna have to get to the shocks. Because I have to get to the shocks, I have to get to the rear end and take the drive shaft out. The drive shaft has to come out. I'm gonna cut the exhaust off. The exhaust has to come off. I'm not even using the exhaust. It won't even work with the headers I have. I'm probably gonna detach the brakes from the rear end, just so when I get in there, I don't have it, I'm not gonna have this rear end in my way, because I think I'm gonna have to fabricate brake line to go from where it sits right here to up there, to go to the other side where that brake cable, the upper brake housing bracket goes. And it's this thing. So the upper brake housing bracket goes on the other side on these Fox bodies, and I do have 2 holes for it. There are holes on the body for it. All of them have it. And then you need a 1/4-inch rivet. This is a big rivet. And then, I got a rivet gun, a nice rivet gun, and I got a 1/4-inch rivet. So I'm gonna rivet it in there, so that when I attach that upper brake hose bracket, it'll all fit the way it's supposed to, like as if it was like a later Mustang doing a disc brake conversion, or a 86 and up Mustang disc brake conversion with an 8.8. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm at a good stopping point. I don't, just as long as I get this rear end out by January, middle of January, which that should be easy. I might even do it next week. Probably will do it next week, but and then get this bad boy in here, get this 8.8 in here, and start working on that. Once that's all done, once the rear is done, then the fun starts. That's when we get to take the engine and transmission completely out. Then the subframe comes out, because that's just going to be way easier to just to do the subframe when the engine and transmission's out, obviously. Because I have a K member, and I have the control arms, and I have the front struts, double adjustable front struts. I have the front springs. I have the proportioning valve. I have the master cylinder. I have the Cobra booster. I pretty much have everything. And I have a cutting and flare tool, the double flare brake line, when and where I need to. So just stay tuned. All right.